It's interesting when I hear a lot of people talk about like getting signed as sort of the thing that's gonna kick off their career. And that can be true to a degree. It can sometimes. Um, but here's the other thing that I would bring to the table with that, because we sort of want to try to be as equal as we can. At least I try to be in my whacked out artistic mind. For as many people that get signed and they're like, yeah, well, I got signed to a bunch of really good labels and that's what kicked off my career. Go to those labels and look up people. There's a lot of people who submit tracks and get them signed, and then when you follow them down the kind of rabbit hole of their social media and stuff, you can see that they're like, even though they're on one of the top labels that you would like kill to be on, they really don't have anything going on either. And I don't mean that to sound mean. I'm just saying that so that you can kind of balance your perspective of like, and I hate to burst your bubble, but like getting signed to like 2 or 3 high profile labels doesn't necessarily mean you're set and you know, you're good, and here come the booking agents and the managers to whisk you off and make you the next Tiesto. I hope it happens, and I don't necessarily claim to have the perfect music formula either, but I will say that be careful about giving your best music away really off the cuff and without a big plan, because there's, for as many people as there are out there who get signed to a big label and get out there, like an Oliver Howden or a Don Diablo, or, you know, fill in the blank with anybody that we know that's on a festival flyer. Look at that label. There's probably a handful, if not a dozen or a couple dozen people on that label that aren't having the same results as that person. And I mean, I think it could be a number of reasons. Maybe their music isn't as good, or they can't release as consistently. Perhaps the issue is just that their content sucks, so they have a great sound, but, you know, sorry, I'm getting a mosquito out of the way. But, you know, their look isn't good. And like, if there's one thing that I've come to find is it's like, I think kind of sort of EDM tends to like a clean cut kind of person. I mean, I know that rule isn't necessarily like the golden rule, but like if you look at it like I hate to say, but like if you don't look current to a degree, like you may not get the attention that like a good looking dude, you know, like a Don Diablo or a Calvin Harris, you know, with a current haircut and a cool jacket, will get. So it's like, you know, release consistently, make content so that there's actually something to look at and enjoy while on your social media. You know, probably look somewhat decent and not like you're homeless walking in the woods like me giving you advice. And just kind of study them, because it's like so many people, and especially like when I was doing trance, I knew so many ghost producers and asked them for advice and help and saw all kinds of crazy stuff posted. And it's like, it's crazy to me because some of these ghost producers are signed to the biggest labels, and not only are they releasing their own tracks, but they're selling other tracks to other people. And it's like, why isn't that person a great producer who clearly is good enough to sell their tracks to other people, as well as release similar sounding tracks that are their own on that same label? Why are they not whisked away and represented? And I mean, I think kind of the general thing that a lot of people fall back on is like, well, some people just don't want to be in the spotlight. And I get that, that's true. Some people really just like waking up and going to their home studio and pumping out hits and charging a couple $100 to a couple $1,000 for it. And hey, who wouldn't mind that? They get to stay home with their family. They don't have to worry about flights and sickness and everything else that comes to you on the road. And they make great music. But like, you know, it's just weird to me that like it didn't happen for a lot of those cats. Yeah, I don't know, it's weird, you know. Go to your favorite labels and look at who's really being signed. Don't just look at the top 2 or 3 players. You know, go down in the roster and follow the kind of cyber road, if you will, down to see like who else is being signed and what they've got going on, because I was quite surprised. You know, you'll find some producer who is signed to like 5 of the top house labels or trance labels, or, you know, just whatever you want to say, future-based labels. And like, what I've come to find most of the time is that these guys have great productions. Whether they actually made them or bought them is kind of hard to say, especially too because a lot of times with those guys, you may not necessarily see studio pictures. And of course, anything nowadays, it's so easy to fabricate things. But I always thought that was interesting that, like, you know, some of these guys that are signed to top labels, you never see them in the studio. You never see them posting anything or doing tutorials or anything. And it's just weird to me. But, you know, they're signed to these top labels, but like their content is really average. And some of them don't even make an effort at all. It's content of like them and their girlfriend and their cat, you know, couch surfing and watching Netflix, and, you know, they're home on a Saturday night. And it's like, it's weird to me because it's like you're signed to some of the biggest labels out there for our umbrella of music. And like, you know, you're not, like, you don't even play shows, you know? So it's weird to me. And I don't mean that to sound mean, because like right now I don't even play shows. But I mean, it's just like, well, then what was the point of giving up your tracks then? Because like, what did it really do? And maybe in the future, maybe that's it. Like in the future, there'll be leverage for that. But I don't know. It's just weird. So just be careful. I'm not saying don't sign or you have to definitely sign, but don't look at the top players and think that that's next in line for you necessarily. I hope it is, but I see a lot of times that it's not. And then it's like, you know, you're signed to these top labels, but like you really don't have much else going for you. Why is that? Is it that you're a ghost producer and you don't want much more going on and you're happy to be at home on a Saturday night vegging out on Netflix? Or is it more than that, that you would love to travel, but you've come to find exactly what I'm talking about, in that you've signed your best tracks to some of the best labels, but for some reason that isn't enough. I don't know, just thoughts about signing and not signing and going down the rabbit hole and exploring the roster. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.